Hey y'all, it's Anime Cayman, and today I'm gonna be live reacting to Try Nights episode 2, and I'm gonna start this live reaction in 1-0 go. Let's hope this episode has more competent animation because it is a sports series and they do need to look visually good. Hopefully. Alright. Riku! Alright. I feel the same way. Hopefully they'll lead to some epic stuff. Hopefully. Now, hopefully the visuals quality is good because, well, I am a sports fan. I'm a fan of teams like for one, the Raiders, because I even got a few merch. And I'm also a fan of sports teams like the Los Angeles Lakers, too. So, if this sports anime fucks up its animation, that will piss me the fuck off. But, since it is a sports anime, I'll be like, you know what? I'll give it another shot. Maybe they can improve in the second episode, because just think of it from this perspective. When a person watches a sport, they watch it for the emotion. Because just try getting the same sports fan and telling them, oh yeah, here's a slideshow of the match that you just saw. No one's going to want to watch that slideshow. So that's why I feel for sports and action series, the animation better be fucking good. At least that's what I'm expecting from this episode, because everything else in the first episode, save for the animation art, I enjoyed relatively well, to a good extent. Just so that y'all know where I'm coming from when just so y'all know where I'm coming from. They can't even animate the shadows and those faraway shots that are obviously CG figures running. Hopefully they save the budget for this episode. I hope. Really? They just drew a still frame? They drew a long still frame and they just move it from the left to the right. Lazy as fuck. He's got a good point. I'd say Riku is the smart one, though. What's up, Riku Rikun? But okay, actually, no, that actually sounds cool. Shotani. You know, I already like that character, Shotani. Okay, that is just obviously CG. They're not even trying to hide it. I do like the close-up hand-drawn shots, though. Oh no, they are, because if you end up against someone similarly athletic, yeah, but he's kind of has the wrong perspective, because he's got a point, because once you get to the pro levels, everyone's going to be hyper athletic and you're going to need tactics to dominate. That's how it works in sports like rugby and football. We've seen this so many times. That's where there's a lot of I don't know about rugby, but I know there's a lot of NFL busts because some players only rely on their athleticism too much. Oh God, what is with that CG? They really want to show us that they got no budget. Okay. Finally, some damn animation. It's a miracle. Okay. I spoke too soon. Okay. They look like PS1 models running into each other, but now it looks pretty decent. The close-up shots. Whoa. Kid is a beast. But here's the thing should consider though. If you were to face someone of a similar strength structure, he'd be screwed if the other person had a better degree of tactics. That's the only downside to his way of thinking. Now, yeah, I'm with them there. Nah, it's not maybe. Riku is right. Hmm. Wait, really? Dang. Hmm. I mean, the only way they can really grow is to have him face another team of similar competition level. And have them be dominated against the team. It's the only way. Oh, I know! He can tell Shintani he can give Shintani some tactical tips. And maybe if Shintani defeats Akira, that could also have Akira develop a desire to want to utilize tactics. That's what Rico should be trying to place in his head right now. If he was smart, he should do that, like right now. And I mean street smart, because we know he's book smart. Oh! Just say it, boy! Just tell him, if you want to beat him, I'll give you some tactics. Well, he ain't wrong, because if... Come on, Rico, just say it. Just say that you'll give him some tactics that can beat Akira. He should rile up his inner competitive nature. I don't know why he hasn't mentioned it yet. This dude, he's shameless when it comes to food. Okay. We know that. I'm kind of disappointed I didn't have him at least kind of nudge Shintani to get into some tactics, give him some tips. Could have told him, if you want to try beat Akira, if you want to have the best shot of beating him, just try these tactics out. That's what he should have done. Oh. Alright. I wonder if that's the school he wanted to join, because the way he sounded a bit distressed. I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted to join Sekai. uh and when you know, I can't blame them. Both of them are kind of acting like idiots now, because honestly, Riku could have just given us an easy solution, but just trying to convince Shintani to implement tactics so that he can beat Akira in a sparring session. It ain't that fucking hard. Oh my. I guess it's not surprising that they're all decked the fuck out. Holy shit. Well, he's got like the most normal looking body. Can't blame him for that. Mm-hmm. Huh. The only thing about strength is you can only rely on it so much, because if you receive an injury, you're going to have to try to develop other facets of your game, depending on your body. Because not everyone's body is durable, and rugby is a pretty physical sport. These two are already talking like a bittering couple. My goodness. Definitely gonna see a pretty strong bromance. I mean, in a way, it does make sense, because that their relationship is pretty decent, because they can. Because with them having the ability to argue with each other, at the very least, it does show that they don't have enough. They don't have fear with each other, and they're willing to lay it out honestly. With the way you said you do anything, he kind of had like that hentai-like face going on. Like, no joke. Gotta admit, that was a good drawn art piece right there. Really? More still frames? You've gotta be fucking kidding me. Oh great, and more long distance CG cuts, of course. Make the sport of rugby look like shit. Even though we know rugby, at least the parts of Basina rugby, it's a cool sport itself, but I'm saying this anime is not doing a good showcase of it. Good, he's got the right idea. Fly back. Oh. I like that though. It shows you, even though sports are fun, it does show the dark side of it when it comes to injuries. In a way. Also slightly raising the stakes too. Showing all that if in this anime there are going to be themes of injuries going along with it too. It took him 16 minutes in the episode. It took him 16 minutes and 20 seconds to come up with this, when I literally am a guy who doesn't even play a sport on the level they play it. Took him a long ass time to come up with that. Wow, this episode really did like to dick around. And don't come with me saying that I'm too harsh, because that's the truth. How can a person that only watches sports for fun think of this much more quickly than so-called professional animation writers? How? Like, seriously, how? Or say a character in a series that plays rugby as a major hobby and does it on a regular basis. So that right there is a writing flaw in the episode, because it did waste a lot of time getting to this point. We should have already been close to this point on the 4-minute mark. But fuck it. We'll see how they handle this rugby sequence. And if it's well handled, then at the very least we'll get some entertaining moments. Hopefully. Oh, damn. It's crazy. Oh. All right. I gotta admit, that scene was actually well written at the very least. That specific sequence. He just threw him like a rag doll. Yes! That should put him in his place. It's still a drop if it hits the ground, though. Oh, this dude. Yo, if he wants Harmo to be the flyback, you better have his recruiting pitch to the T. Alright. As for how I felt specifically about this episode, I mean, at the very least, the animation wasn't as hilariously bad as episode 1 was, at the very least. I'll give it credit for that. But it did have some writing issues, though. So instead of having... And the animation issues were still there, just not as bad as episode 1. And let me explain why. I felt like they stupefied Riku because that whole thing of having someone else try to out-tactic Akira, it should not have taken 60 minutes for the episode to get to that point. I was able to think of a solution like that the episode implemented right when it went to the 5 or 6 minute mark. So technically, when it wasn't 60 minutes, we should have already been seeing that boy already tried to outmatch Akira on the 8 minute mark. So literally this episode I felt dicked around for at the very least a good 10 minutes, slowing down its own darn plot progression. And I didn't like that. I felt like the writing staff just purposely dragged out the episode because they were trying to think of a way to make it run 20 minutes. Alright, let me see the PV. Past and the future. Alright, let's see this lesson. Alright. Huh. That's cool. It's actually nice to know, actually, for anyone that's not familiar with rugby, they can explain these simple rules for the audience. Since it'll be unnatural to have the explanation of rugby rules during an episode, considering that they all play rugby, it'd be like pointless exposition. Alright, I'd say that was a cute little rugby lesson. Oh, let me get back on topic. Now, that is the big issue I had specifically about this episode, because let's just think about this logically. How can me, a person that isn't even a writer, that doesn't even play rugby as a hobby, come up with a solution, and then here it takes 10 minutes for a simple mission to be implemented when I just thought of it that quick? So that's why the writing here felt a bit unnatural. And then speaking of which, aside from the script taking a dump this week, I didn't like how in this episode that he didn't utilize Shintoni to the fullest, because you would think that they were building up towards Rico utilizing Shintoni to utilize him using tactics to try to out-duel Akira, because they should have at the very least had a sequence where Rico at least tries to convince Shintoni, telling him that, yeah, I just noticed that your athleticism level is just slightly below the athleticism level of Akira. Now, I can teach you a way on how to beat him if you just follow my instructions. And they could have just had Shintoni going through a training sequence, and then they could have just had Akira beating it in that way, and that would have been at the very least nice, or at the very least an attempt. They could have also tried that, maybe fell on his pitch towards Shintoni, and then go for the dude with like the bob cut haircut, you know? But no, it really, the writing here just fell apart, and that's why I felt it could have improved. Had it done these elements, this episode would have at the very least had more competent writing. And then, aside from that, from a script standpoint, I didn't think it did the characters justice. The only guy done justice was the guy with like the bob haircut, and that's about it. But they made Riku stupider. And then for Akira, there wasn't really much of character development to even speak of. It's just him relying on his strength, as established in episode 1. Not much character development there. Although we did get more sequences of their senpai, and he was pretty cool. So I'll give it credit for that. But for the most part, from a character standpoint, I felt Riku was given an unnatural character digression. And then the animation. Oh lord. Does Gonzo want to sell Blu-rays? Or do they want everyone to just fucking back away from this anime? Because the animation continued being atrocious. And I actually did look up the anime pre-orders. Apparently, the top animes and pre-orders are Ensemble Stars and Zenki Sama Gear XV. Those are the top two. The bottom two are it's Vinland Saga is second from the bottom. And then after that, it's Dr. Stone. And let me see, Tri Knights is... Anyways, I don't even think it ranked that high, so... Just seeing the shitty animation efforts, the shitty CG, the stills, I'm just like... Is that really the point of a sports series? To just watch